MotorWeek is made possible by Rock Auto, Tire Rack, and Die Hard.
They call it the sweetest place on earth. I'd say the name surely fits where we found ourselves. It is the home of that marvelous chocolate that you know, Hershey, Pennsylvania. They're over 100 years old, and today we're going to be looking at automobiles the same age, but they've got stuff inside of them that we see even in today's cars. I tend to be a visual learner, so the folks at the Antique Automobile Club of America agreed to let us see the engineering in person.
By coming here, you can certainly see how much cars have evolved. I mean, the older cars were great. People always say, they don't build them like they used to. Well, there's a reason for that. Because they didn't run like they do now, they didn't operate the way they do now, and they certainly were not as safe as they are now.
I look at this, and I think 101 Dalmatians and Great Gatsby. Now, I'll think about how it paved the way for most cars on the road today. Available in the American auto market, this was the first front-wheel drive car. All right, Mark, a 1929 Cord, not to be confused with Ford. This one, however, a little more pricey, definitely for the wealthy.
Absolutely. You know, when the L29 came out in 1929, it was about $3,000, which was considerably more than your average Ford. This obviously is a very high-end car for the wealthy.
It was also lower and longer with a straight 8 cast iron engine. I sure wouldn't mind this sitting in my stable. And speaking of that, here's the first automobile that didn't require horses to power it.
It's an 1895 Benton Harbor, built in Michigan. It is probably the oldest operating American automobile and likely one of the very first automobiles that were built in this country that started life as an automobile as opposed to a horse-drawn carriage.
This was supposed to be part of the first auto race ever held in the States, but production delays kept it away. With a top speed of 23 miles per hour, it would have been a contender for sure. A piece that carried over to this still lives on today.
When the operator took off from a dash, the horses would kick up stones and gravel. So they put this piece on here to protect the operators, people sitting in the front seat, from getting stones whipped at them. Hence the term dashboard.
Something this didn't have much of: safety. Moving ahead a few decades, we have a car that didn't need seatbelts because that would have damaged the reputation. Normally when I think about an automobile and I think safety, I think Volvo, but after World War II, it was Mr. Tucker and his car.
Right, the Tucker 48. You know, Tucker was an entrepreneur and an innovator and really a man of vision. You know, he knew that the cars from the late 30s and the 40s before World War II, there really wasn't a lot going on there.
While GM and Ford had to refocus on cars after the war, Tucker had already been brainstorming and set out to make a safe, high-performance, low-riding car with a top speed of around 120 miles per hour. He also had a center-mounted swiveling headlight that turned with the steering wheel. Yes, it was the first adaptive headlight. He also had talked about four-wheel hydraulic disc brakes like all of our cars today, which was unheard of at that time. All right, so one of the same traits as the Tucker, but a completely different car. This is an earlier Lotus. Low and fast was the name of the game, yes?
Absolutely, and this was, you know, the brainchild of Colin Chapman, who was the founder of Lotus.
Chapman's mantra: to lighten everything and make it faster. And would you say that the way that even these wheels are designed, that idea kind of carries over into today's racing?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a great example. This is a Lotus magnesium wobbly web wheel. Now, if you look, it doesn't look like much, but because it's cast all in one piece, you have these spokes built in where there really isn't a spoke, which gives it a very lightweight wheel, but also very, very strong.
While few of these classic companies are around today, they definitely left a tire print for all that followed.